That's recording on that camera, Tom.
Lovely! Alright. Hello, I'm Tom Scott, and I've got a story for you. It's set in a future. Not necessarily the future, I'm not saying this is what will happen, but I think it's a plausible path from where we are now to where we will be. And where we will be is April 2022, 10 years' time. First person we're going to meet there is Jason Stewart. He's the MP for Tooting and Streatham. He is the Minister for Social Development. He's considered kind of a hot shot among his party after winning his seat in the 2020 general election, a very hard-fought contest. Also embroiled in a massive scandal, but we'll get back to that in a minute. This is the 2022 iPhone. Looks about the same, the laws of physics dictate you still need a battery brick, but what has changed is the mobile network speed. 5G now blankets the country in 100 megabit internet access, and the data caps are a thing of the past. Which means that last year, Apple reused a trademark and introduced iLife. It's quite similar to Your History on Microsoft Nokia phones or Droid Locker on Android. They're all descendants of the accountability systems that have been used for police officers and care workers for years now. With iLife, the phone is always recording audio and sending it and your location to a cloud server. The descendants of Siri then generate a transcript of it. If you're talking to someone else with iLife, it'll give you a text chat log. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. And if you have the new Apple headset, it's got a couple of cameras embedded in it, which are always recording video when they're connected. That's uploaded, analysed and stabilised by the same systems. The cable, incidentally, still gets tangled in knots every time you put it in your bag. What this means is that you can say to people, this is what I'm looking at right now, or this is what I just looked at. It's all hooked up to social networks, this is what people use it for. Justin Bieber's comeback tour was live streamed round the clock and never went below 50,000 viewers. What's more important, though, is that iLife gives you a life log, a complete history. Every person you've talked to, every friendly smile, every stranger you've passed in the street, your own memory is now indexed, augmented, searchable, and your first 50 gigs of storage are free. And if you think that's far-fetched, let's remember Facebook is less than 10 years old. Twitter is only 6 years old, and the iPhone itself, 5 years. We've gone from T9 text entry to full voice dictation in half the time we're talking about here. Which brings us back to Jason Stewart. Jason is a member of Cheshire Boys, the site for his old alumni of his public school. Runs on Disco, a fairly popular community framework that unfortunately has some fairly major security flaws, including one that allows mass stealing of passwords. Now let's go to Russia. Natalia Orlovsky is there. She is 15, she lives in an ex-Soviet tower block, and she doesn't get out much. She's running a bot that pulls in as many of those passwords as possible. Not for anything particularly evil. She saw what happened to the group that charged porn to Putin's credit card last year. But because she can, she takes all these passwords, she bundles them together, and she puts them out on a pastebin site. Because she can. It's just another big leak. There have been loads of them before. And Facebook and all the networks will, of course, lock everyone's account down and require they change their password again. But in the meantime, lots of people are looking through this list, and one person is going to notice tootingjason@gmail.com. His password is Stuart9, that's the same password he uses everywhere, and someone goes, hey, let's log into his iCloud. First thing they see is Apple's handy Is This You feature. Jason Stewart can be seen in a few frames of this walk-by in Shoreditch. He wasn't recording, but his phone had his location and facial recognition did the rest, and it didn't take too much effort to find out what he was doing there. A few minutes later, this poison pen letter arrives in every single political editor and blogger's inbox in the country. The Sun eventually runs with it first, after all the blogs have made it public knowledge, and Jason Stewart's career is ruined. Except it's not. Because he's not committing a crime under UK law. He's divorced, so he wasn't even committing adultery. It's 2022, he decides he's going to go on the offence. He gets up in Parliament and says that our private lives should be private and that we must investigate these hackers. And he convinces the Met to investigate, which they do, by filing a request with Apple for any life logs that mention Jason Stewart in the hours and minutes before the leak. And Apple agrees, because that argument got settled years ago after Blackpool. So that's the way it works now. Someone's arrested, 16 years old, so they can't be named, but we know they've been released on bail on the grounds that they've not used the internet or a computer, which means, of course, that they can't do anything. And that's the precedent set. If you're in the same area as the victim of a crime, or you say the same name as a victim of a crime in the minutes or hours before, your lifelog will get pulled and searched through by the police. And you can always close your account and opt out, of course. That option is right there, but it's so damned useful. And besides, all your friends use it. And besides, lots of companies are requiring that their employees use it for liability purposes. And besides all that, it's not like you've got anything to hide. Right? I'm Tom Scott, thank you very much.